Good morning, everyone. Can everyone see and hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, because strangely, I can't see myself. So I'm glad to hear that I am there. So I'd like to welcome you all. We still have a few people who are joining, but I will start by saying thanks so much for joining us for our 2022 virtual Duke Postdoc orientation. And as you know, it is going on all this week, concluding with the Dupa pizza lunch on Friday, and then continuing through next week with our keynote on the IDP or Individual Development Plan by Dara Wilson Grant. So I am Molly Starback, AKA the person who sends all those emails, and I'm the director of the Office of Postdoctoral Services. Our office is in North Building, although don't drop by to visit us just yet because we literally haven't moved in yet. All of our stuff is in boxes. So the best way to get in touch with me is by email, molly.starback@duke.edu. And Mark Matheson is our wonderful staff assistant. If there's anything that can't be figured out, Mark is usually the person who can figure it out. So between us, we hope to help you throughout your postdoctoral appointment. So, and if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'll try to see if you throw your hand up, but probably the chat's a little easier. So, I'll start with an overview of postdoctoral appointments at Duke. So we have approximately 600 postdoctoral appointees at Duke, and I say approximate because postdocs come in and go out, they're hired and they leave pretty much every day. They don't come in as a cohort like graduate students, i.e. the class of 2025. There are about 380 in the School of Medicine and about 320 on the campus side. That includes the Pratt School of Engineering, Nick School of the Environment, Sanford School of Public Policy. Most of our postdocs are in the sciences and engineering, but we have around 55 who are in the social sciences and humanities. The majority of our postdocs are postdoctoral associates. We have around 50 who are postdoctoral scholars. I'll explain what that distinction means and why it's important in just a moment. And please note that postdocs hold a dual role as employees and trainees. So you are Duke employees, eligible for Duke employee benefits, medical insurance, eligible for vacation. However, you are also trainees. So the postdoc position is a training position. It is where you are learning and moving towards your next career, whether that be a traditional tenure-track academic job or a career beyond academia. So while you are a postdoc, you are not only allowed to, you're encouraged to attend professional development workshops, conferences, and trainings, of which we have quite a few. So please take advantage of what we have while you are here. And my office provides individual career counseling. So email me if you would like an appointment. So that includes if you'd like to go over your CV, if you would like to go over your resume, if you would like to turn your CV into a resume, if you are applying for a traditional tenure track job, that includes research, teaching, and diversity statement critiques. And we have a workshop coming up this month, by the way, on the DEI statement, and mock interviews. We have a host of professional development workshops, as you will see if you are on the postdoc list. And my office also provides policy information and referrals. So for example, to the Ombuds Office, Staff and Labor Relations, if you have questions about payroll or benefits that you can't seem to get answered in your department, the first place to stop is usually the business manager or the HR manager, but I'm also happy to field those questions. Policies and forms. So this might not be the most exciting thing that you've ever read, but I encourage you to please look over the Duke Postdoctoral Policy and the associated FAQ, because these are the documents that govern your postdoctoral appointment. And they answer lots of questions about things like benefits, health insurance, vacation, parental leave. So please look those over. And this is important, I think, not just for this job, but for any job going forward. You want to know what, okay, what's the policy? What do I fall under? Is this a faculty position? Is this a staff position? It's important to know these things. rather than be surprised down the road to find out that you're not receiving a benefit you thought you were going to receive. This page also includes the evaluation form, or IDP. So IDP stands for Individual Development Plan, and postdocs must have a yearly evaluation, which is modeled on the IDP. And we are having an IDP workshop next Wednesday at 1 p.m. with the amazing Dara Wilson Grant. I encourage you all to attend that session. All right, so the official postdoc categories at Duke. There are two. The first is postdoctoral associate, and these are our employee postdocs. The majority of our postdocs fall in this category. The second category is postdoc scholar. So these are only our NIH, NRSA, F32 or T32 training fellowship recipients. And because of NIH rules, not Duke rules, let me repeat that, because of NIH rules, not Duke rules, these trainees must be treated as trainees of the NIH rather than employees of Duke University. And this is true at any university you go to. So this raises interesting issues like, how do you give health insurance to a non-employee? So we've solved that problem, but there are a host of things that you should know if you are considering applying for an F32, or if someone says, hey, I've got a slot on the T32 training grant open, why don't you apply for it? Please read the postdoc policy and FAQ first. If you have any questions, please contact me and I'll be happy to walk you through it. So the final category is postdoc scholar paid direct, and we don't have very many of these. These are postdocs who, as the name implies, receive funds paid directly to them. Some NSF fellowships are paid this way, and there is some home country funding, such as the Canadian NSERC program, that is paid this way. Again, these are non-employee postdocs because none of the money is flowing through Duke. There is a workaround to get medical insurance, but please do read over the policy if you are considering accepting one of these fellowships. All right, as I mentioned, postdocs must receive a yearly evaluation. And I encourage you all to create an individual development plan, even if you haven't started talking about that with your faculty mentor. Many of you are probably familiar with the individual development plan because you probably had to make one in graduate school. And studies show that people who create an individual development plan have a better time in their postdoctoral appointment. This is also a tool that you can use to have a conversation with your mentor about, okay, here are the goals that I have for my training period as a postdoc. What are your goals for my training period as a postdoc? Because communicating with your mentor early and often has definitely been shown to smooth the path for postdoctoral appointees. So on this page, which is found under the resources tab of the postdoc website, you can find much more information about the IDP, including some online tools you can use. There is My IDP for postdocs in the STEM fields, and Imagine PhD for postdocs in the social sciences and engineering. And as I mentioned, we will be having a workshop next Wednesday with Dara Wilson Grant at 1 p.m. She's a great speaker, and you even get responsible conduct research credit, or RCR credit, for attending that workshop. Communicating with postdocs. So most of you, if you are on this session, then you have probably been subscribed to the postdoc list by me. There are over 1,000 subscribers on the list. So that means, since I just said we have only 650 postdocs, that they aren't all postdocs. So faculty, staff, students are welcome to join this list as well. You just have to have an email address. And we send out information about professional and social events, policy updates, the ever popular job listings, and here's information on how to subscribe. You can also find that on the Postdoc Services page. And the Duke University Postdoctoral Association, or DUPA, also sends out information on upcoming events on the postdoc email list. They also have their own Slack channel. DUPA holds meetings every month, usually the first Wednesday of every month, usually at 1 p.m. Those meetings have been hybrid lately. I encourage you to join DUPA and get involved. It's a great group of people, and it looks great on your resume or CV if you are looking to build those soft skills that pretty much every job seems to ask for. Joining a DUPA committee is a great way to do that. Social events. So in the fall, we have Postdoctoberfest, And I believe that's coming up on either October 3rd or October 6th this year, whatever the Friday is. It's usually on a Friday afternoon. In the spring, we have Spring Fling. And here we have free food, free drinks, including free beer, free ice cream or Loco Pops. Those of you who haven't had a Loco Pop yet, if you're new to Durham, they're delicious. We have free Duke Postdoc t-shirts, live music, and a bouncy house for the kids. And as I mentioned, DUPA sponsors many great events. These include socials, lunches, pub nights, picnics. I think there's recently been a wine down Wednesday on Wednesdays, and family-friendly events such as trips to the Lemur Center. Career development workshops, we have a ton of these, as you will discover. So as I mentioned, the individual development plan coming up next Wednesday. We have a whole series on the academic job search. We have a whole series on careers beyond academia. There's also a mentoring and communication series, an alum Zoom series. We started this during the pandemic, and it was so popular that we kept it. These are half-hour conversations. You'd be amazed how much we can cover in a half hour with previous postdocs and graduate students who come back to tell us about their cool jobs and what we can do to get a cool job like theirs. And as I mentioned, we have workshops on CV to resume, interviewing, networking, and the very popular salary negotiation workshop, which will also be coming up this fall semester. This page, also under resources, lists all the benefits and services that are available to postdocs as employees, and most of these are absolutely free. So I encourage you to take a look at this and see what you can do. A lot of these are around training, so you wouldn't believe how many training classes you can take in things like computers and big data. So please take a look at this, and you wouldn't believe how many events at Duke have free food. So take advantage of that as well. Here's our events calendar. So the events listing is not just information or events at Duke, although there are a lot of those. There are also information on events in the larger RTP area. So those of you who are interested in jobs in biotech, there's the NC Biotech Center. There are a lot of events at UNC that are open to postdocs and vice versa. So I encourage you to stretch your legs a little bit, get out there and meet people in the broader area. Professional development resources, again, we have a ton of these. Please take a look at this page if you are starting to think about what you might want your career to look like, everything from skills development all the way through to salary negotiation for both academic and non-academic positions. This is our academic job search series, as I mentioned, and all of these pages have now been updated for fall 2022. Our careers beyond academia series, the mentoring and communication series, and here is our Postdoc Services YouTube channel where you can find a lot of archived events. And you will see that once a month, I send out a big list of all the professional development events going on at Duke. This can be kind of huge, especially like September, October. It starts getting a little smaller as we get towards the holiday and over the summer, but this is a compendium, so you can find everything that's going out. And then I send out smaller bite-sized version of it during the month. Same thing for social, family, arts, diversity, and wellness events. There's literally something you could do every day, almost always free. And as I mentioned, a lot of it has free food. And this is our weekly jobs, fellowships, and announcement of interest list for Duke postdocs. Most of the jobs are here in the RTP area, and most of them are not tenure track academic positions because everybody kind of knows how to find one of those. However, a lot of people would like to stay, in Durham or in the surrounding area. So we have a lot of positions like that, both at Duke and in RTP. And in case you are wondering what other postdocs are up to, please look under the statistics tab of the postdoc website. Here you can find demographics of our postdoc population, also time in training and career outcomes for 1 year, 5 year, and 10 years from the time of their postdoctoral appointment. So I encourage you to check that out. Here is our Postdoc Services homepage. And you can see down there at the bottom in the gray box how to subscribe to the postdoc mailing list. And as I said, anyone with a Duke email address is welcome to join. And events are going on all this week. So I encourage you to join us virtually, although we will be recording them for those who can't join us in person. And so now I will stop sharing and ask if y'all have any questions.
Hi, Molly. This is Pankaj here.
Hi, Pankaj.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really indeed very resourceful to know all the postdoc activities that takes place at Duke. I have one question. So on one of your slide, you mentioned about the postdoctorate job opportunities in academia and outside. So is it posted weekly? Because I have not received anything yet. Or that was an old email, something.
Yes, no, it's posted every week. And Pankaj, let me ask you, are you on the postdoc list? Do you get other postdoctoral announcements?
Actually, I received the orientation email. So if not, then maybe I'll add myself, because I think I have added myself, but not sure if I have done that, because it was at the very beginning and I have added myself to many of this mailing list.
Okay.
But I'll check again.
Okay, I just see. So I just looked you up, Pankaj, and you are a research scientist. So, and this brings up an important point, something we were talking about earlier. So here at Duke, people can say, I'm a postdoc, right? And yes, you're a postdoc in that you have a PhD, right? And you are doing advanced training, but you might not be in the postdoc job category, because those are the only two that I mentioned. So
Okay.
research scientist is considered a staffed scientist.
Okay.
So that's, and for anybody who's interested, the postdoc term limit is 1 to 5 years, well, 5 years. And then after that, the next step is usually, not always, but usually research associate senior, followed by research scientist. So you, Pankaj, have probably a little more experience than the average postdoc, which is fine. And you're certainly welcome to be on the email list if you just want to join.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
You're welcome. Other questions?
Hi, Molly. This is Sharon Cundy.
Sharon.
And I just have I have a question about the new staff orientation. Do you, and kind of about benefits and enrolling in benefits. So are we supposed to wait to be assigned, or just like kind of wait for it to appear in our inbox, or do we have to do anything to make sure that we're enrolled in that? And then also, do we need to engage in that orientation before we enroll in benefits?
So the answer to all of that is yes. You can't, your business or HR manager should be enrolling you in that. So you can ask your business or HR manager. It is online now, I believe. So I think you can just enroll yourself. And that is useful because that's where they talk about benefits and go into detail on benefits. And again, since you are postdoctoral employees, that the new employee orientation is required for new employees. But you can find out all of this stuff on your own. So if you click on the email that I sent out, or about orientation, there's a link there where you can click. There's also information on the postdoc website under New to Duke. And so you can find information on all of the health plans. There are 4 medical plans. The cheapest is Duke Basic. The most popular is Duke Select. And then there are 2 other plans. One is, well, they used to call them Cadillac Plans. And one is basically if you can see a doctor anywhere in the country. So if you are from New York and you want to keep going back to New York to see your doctor, that's the plan that I would use. And then there's one plan that you can use anywhere in the world. And so that's usually used by people who are obviously like not based in Durham, North Carolina. So that's the quick rundown, but they all have different copays. So I would just look them over and bear in mind, Basic cheapest, Select most popular.
And just as a quick follow-up, is there any place that we can get the benefits guide like in hard copy, or would we just have to print that out somewhere?
You know, I don't know. They used to send it out hard copy, but I think they stopped. I think they moved it to everything online. But there's definitely going to be like a huge PDF you could print off if you wanted to. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and somebody posted in the chat that you need to go to the Duke at Work website to enroll in it yourself. Yeah, and I know that there are links online to the orientation. Let me see if I can find it here and post it, unless somebody's faster than me.
I'm not sure if we are in the same track, but I'm also teaching. So I actually received orientation already, and I have a huge PDF for the guide. But I think it's in the kind of like the, what's that called? Like Duke Stuff training system, something like that. And then you have to go through all the online orientation by yourself.
Oh, yeah. So they've put it in like the online learning system. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. So that's good. So you can take it self-paced. When I did it, you had to like go over to Anderson Street and sit in room and yeah, talk about the Duke values and then everybody was just waiting to get to the end so we could talk about benefits because that's what everybody was interested in. So it's great that it's online actually. And I see that someone asked, does Duke offer conference support for postdocs? And yes, we do the postdoctoral awards for professional development, which are offered in the spring. I also encourage you, well, to join the next session, which is with Dory, or the Duke Office of Research Initiatives, and they will be talking about how you can find funding for things like conferences and research. The traditional way to get conference funding is, as you probably know, from your PI, but there are also pots of money you can apply for. And a great way to do that is by we have some finding funding workshops coming up that are sponsored by Dory, and signing up for some of the funding tools that you can find on the Dory website.
I also have a question about, like, because I'm going to teach as well, is there any workshop about, balancing teaching and research for postdocs, things like that?
Well, we have a great center for teaching here at Duke. So, and you may have seen some of the events listed on the calendar. So, and that is called, trying to pull it up now, Duke Learning Innovation. So Duke Learning Innovation offers all kinds of great resources to help you teach, also to support you as someone who's doing research. And so they have support groups. So I would definitely encourage you to check out what they have. Learning Innovation at Duke.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Molly.
Hi, Belen, how are you?
Good, great presentation. Thank you so much. So I have a question for the CV, cover letters, and all this stuff that we can send you. Since I'm trying to apply for new jobs, grants, I didn't know that you also do that. So this is wonderful. So for these applications, should I send it to you or Mark, or who is the person in charge?
Just email me, we'll set up an appointment, and please email me whatever you want to discuss. So whether it's your CV or resume, please send it in Word format if you can, because that way I can go in and make my little comments on it, right? Which is hard to do on a PDF. So yes, please just go ahead and send those to me and we will set up a time to discuss.
Perfect, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, well, if not, I look forward to seeing hopefully a lot of you in our next session on the Duke Office of Research Initiatives. And I know that Belen will be happy to see you at the Postdoc Pizza Lunch this Friday. So thanks, everybody.